If you are wanting to listen in French, there is a translation button at the bottom, and there we do have a translator with us, so you can go across onto that channel and listen in French. That's you are wanting to. That's me coming through on Zoom, so looking, it's all coming together. That's very weird that it's there. Okay. Okay. Speaker view. Let's check it's all coming back. Right. Okay. All right. Share my screen. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining. We will begin shortly. So just giving a minute or two to get everyone into the room. Just double checking everything's working. That's better. Everything's working on there. All right. We'll give it another minute or so. But yeah, again, thank you to everyone who's joined. Quite a nice lot of you have joined the program today, and we will kick off shortly. Just give us a few more minutes. Cindy, everything okay on your side just before we get going?
All good. Rex, can you please make Dante a co-host?
Oh, she was, but jumped off. Okay, we'll do that now. Okay. Cool. Just see what's happening. Okay. All right, one more minute and then we will get going. Mitt, all okay on your side? You ready for us? And
all well, buddy.
Great, awesome. So you're working, you can get your mic and your camera on when you're ready, when I call. Thanks, man. Okay, we'll get tested. And Nick, yeah, we tested you and all should be good. Cool. Yeah, great. Okay. Cool. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to kick off. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. So this is the third webinar for the Summer Fancy Food or the Africa Fine Food Pavilion B2B matchmaking program for Summer Fancy Food. We have done two others, and this is our final. So we're going to give you a little roundup on what's happening in the matchmaking program. So I'll just present to you on that today. Everything's hotting up, happening, and yeah, lots of good stuff to relay back to you. Today's really also about letting the buyers know. So there are some buyers on the call with us as well. I saw Jim has joined. He was one of our speakers at the last webinar, but a few others on there. So we're going to go through that and really focus on how the program is really beneficial for buyers. We will then have a presentation from Mitt Pandalika from Luano Honey. He also does a lot of trading in the region, so a lot of experience on what's coming out of Africa and the great opportunities that are across the continent. And then we will finish off with Nick Charlambides from Imani Development. Imani are an amazing organization that's doing all kinds of programs and research and development across Africa for the last 30 years. So we'll have Nick come and give us some insight into that. Great. So crack off with me. So everything is happening. The matchmaking program, as with all events, everything comes together at the last minute, and we are excited to let you know that lots of buyers are now responding to us, which is great because we were very in a stressful manner last week because buyers were not yet ready to tell us if they're coming to Summer Fancy Food or not and what their decision is. And it seems over the last few days, everybody has come back. So I'm going to go over sort of what the program looks like in numbers at first. We then just going to go through why B2B matchmaking is really good for buyers and what it helps with, what we can do to help you as a buyer, as an exporter, and get involved in the program. Again, I just want you to know who our team is. So we're all out there, you know who to come and chat to. A little bit about the matchmaking app, which is live now. So all the exporters are on that. We've just put up about 26 buyers on there now as well, and many more to come over the next few days, just so everybody knows what that looks like and how it works. And then a little bit more of what we need from you guys. So, and I must stop saying guys because that's very sexist. Okay, so, New World. Just so you know, we have profiled 138 African manufacturers. This number is going up and down. A lot of people coming in, going out. We have some others coming through over the next little while, but we have profiled them. So you can actually have a look on those. I'll show you the link to that just now. But you can have a look at all the different African export manufacturer firms that are on having stands at the show. And we have profiled on a web page to make it super easy to see what's happening. So that's looking good. We have sourced and secured over 70 buyers from the US. So some really great buyers, and this is continuing. We're speaking to a lot of the exhibitors that are buyers at the event as well. So some great buyers there that we found from spices and importers and distributors like Kehi and Unify. All exhibiting at the show or walking the show. As mentioned, we profiled about 26 onto the B2B matchmaking platform. So you'll start seeing their names popped up on there. And we are so far ahead and trying to really ramp up the meeting scheduling. So that's all coming down to buyers telling us when they're ready and making sure that we know where everybody is and we can lead people to the right locations during the event. So a lot of stuff going on the team, and we've got 6 people pumping it and working late evenings and making this all happen. So yeah, exciting times, stressful times, but yeah, all coming together for the event. So why is B2B matchmaking a great thing to have at events? So first of all, we are looking at Summer Fancy Food as a show. There's close on 6,000 or 7,000 exhibitors at the event. Where do you even start? Who do you look for? And being a African supplier, obviously even tougher for us, no history, and most of the companies going across their experience, contacts. So when buyers do look at the list of African suppliers, who do they even start and look for them? How do they know them? So this is really a key part of what we're doing. So when we're speaking to buyers, we're making sure they're a bit more confident in you and wanting to have an introduction with you, and making it as simple as possible for the buyers, for buyers to get involved. So it really allows you to access suppliers, the right size suppliers. We've profiled everyone really nicely. And as a buyer, you come to us and let us know, please. The more you talk to us as a buyer, the more we can help you, the less time we can waste of yours. We know your time is precious. We know you've got a huge amount of the show to work. So walk and work. So please, yeah, get in contact with us. We will connect you to the right suppliers at the event. We are there. We've got a team of 5 people ready to hold your hand, take you around the place, get you in front of the right people. We've got a lovely little meeting lounge as well with tables and chairs. You can sit down there if you want to sit there and work and stuff like that. Please, yeah, come and sit with us. We'll help you. We'll work with you because we know everything changes and we're super flexible on that. All our suppliers are profiled on the web page. So before you even get onto the matchmaking platform, it's all profiled up there. Go and have a look at it. I'll show you that link in a few seconds. Go and have a look at them. If you are still unsure, let us know. We're here. We want to communicate with you. We want to chat to you. We want to get that stuff done for you. So please, we have profiled them as best we can for you. But if there's still information you don't know, let us know. So we're ready for you. We want to make sure your meetings as high quality as possible, and it's matched with the right people. So we will match you with the right people based on your needs. So don't be shy, contact us, let us get you in front of the right people. We'll make it as efficient as possible. So if you tell us you've got 2 to 3 hours, that's all you can spare for us, let us know. If you say you've got half an hour for us, we'll make sure we hold your hand and walk you through a few stands and put you in front of the right people. The pavilion, Africa Pavilion, has been grouped into sectors. So like companies are with each other. So dried fruits and nuts companies are all around the same place. And a lot of the honey guys are together. So we want to make it very simple for you that you go and see multiple companies over a short period of time. So chat to us. The idea is efficiency and making your life easier. And if you can't get to them, we will set up meetings afterwards and make sure that you're chatting to them on virtual video calls. So just chat to us, let us know. As said, we've got a team on site. We're there to help. We've got coffees for you. Come and sit down, have a coffee with us, have a little biscuit. We're going to have some of those as well. And just make sure you come and chat to our African exporters while you're out there. Post-event support as well, as mentioned. If you don't get to meet them, we'll do introductory emails. We can set up B2B one-on-one Zoom meetings with them like this. So don't hold back. We are going to hold your hand at the show and afterwards. As mentioned, we have profiled all our exporters into a single place. So please go onto that link, check it out. Cindy and team, please push that link onto the chats now, and so everyone can have a look at it. Everybody's been emailed their stuff. If there's still something wrong, let us know. We can correct it anytime. But really, that is the place where you as a buyer go on, have a look at what's going on, and make sure that you are meeting with the right people. It allows you to categorize people. So if you click beverages, for example, it will bring up all the beverage companies. If you click South Africa as a country, it'll bring up all the South African companies that do beverages. So it's really as simple as possible way for you to find the right people and at the Africa Fine Food Pavilion. So please, and if it's still not working for you and you still don't know, we'll send the stuff to you. We're able to click on each of those companies, pull their URL for that page, send it over to you. If you're looking just for vanilla companies, we'll pull the vanilla companies, send it to you an email, you click, 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 and get it open for you. So we make it as simple as possible. Don't stress, we're here to help. We really want to make sure you're having a good time at the show. Cool. Next, just so you know, the team back again, we're doing this again. Know who's meeting. You'll see their faces popping up on posts and stuff over the next little while. This is the team that's going to help you. There's one extra person that we're bringing along with us, Penny, but these are the people that are dealing with the program at the moment and helping us. Myself, obviously, here, and I'll be hustling throughout the show and chatting to people and taking people around. So if you see me, grab me, talk to me, let me know what you want. Cindy's and Dante are hard at work calling all of the buyers and chatting to you guys and the exporters and everybody and knowing what is happening. They are ready to be there at the show. They'll be sitting at the B2Me Matchmaking Lounge, and you'll be able to go up to them. They'll sort you out. If you have a problem with your timetable and your schedule, they'll swap it around for you. We've got a matchmaking app that sorts that out. Florentina is our US partner. She's doing some work on her side and finding buyers and getting them involved. She'll also be at the event, making sure as a buyer you're happy and you're set at the event, and making sure we're finding more buyers during the event and bringing them over to you. So she's also going to be hustling and getting things together. So she's there. We've actually brought on some more people as well. So we've got a partner in Morocco that's helping us, Huda, and she's bringing in some buyers from her experience in the market as well. So it's all action happening. There's a US Africa trade desk as well that's bringing a couple of buyers in there as well. So it's really all hotting up and coming together now, and we're making sure that you get some amazing meetings with people. Just so you know what the B2Me Matchmaking app is, you would have got an email that comes through to you, and you set up your password off that. That'll take you into this. If there is a problem, if you can't open it and it gets to a point and it just is a circle of lines going around, let us know. Sometimes there's a problem. You sometimes have to open an incognito mode, or we'll find out we'll find out the issue for you. So please have a look at that. It does come through to your emails. If you didn't get the email, let us know as well. We can resend it off the platform to you and you will get it. So let us know and we'll sort it out. But the two main places for you, if you do log in and it works for you and you get onto there, this is my profile. I'm the food buyer, but it would come out with your name. Instead of food, it should say Rex, and instead of buyer, it should say Bowden. But this is an example of it. There's two main places you need to have a look. One is My Matches. So click on My Matches, and that will bring out a whole lot of ideas of companies that you're keen to look at and your percentage of why you should meet them. So 100% being they are the right person for you, and all the way down to 0% they're not, but 100% will be at the top. So click on My Matches. And then secondly, we are scheduling meetings for you as a buyer. So please click on My Meetings and it will pull your schedule out. We will also be manually sending you this list of meetings. Don't fear. If you don't want to look at the platform, don't worry. We're sending it to you. This helps us as much as it's helping you. So please don't hesitate, and we will help you with the platform. So if you chat to us, we will sort you out. What more do we need from you at this stage? Please connect with us on LinkedIn. That really helps us going forward as well. If you're an exporter, buyer, distributor, consultant, expert, etc., connect with us on LinkedIn. Connect. It's such a great platform. Really makes it simple for us to chat with you. And if you are got other people that want to be on the program, please share their contact details. Share buyer contact details with us. We really want to see that, and we want to connect with them. We want to help them connect with more suppliers. So if you're an exporter, connect us with them. If you are a buyer, connect us with them. So please share those information, and we will make sure they get. Cool. Great. So that's all about the matchmaking program. Mit, thanks for joining us. I see you on camera there. Just to do a little introduction on Mit before I hand over to him and he presents and I bring up his presentation. So yeah, a little bit about Mit. He runs a company called Luano Honey, but he also runs a trading company. There's amazing stuff that's coming out of him. Luano Honey's out in the US at the moment, but born and raised in Zambia. He's got experience in the States. He went to college out there, so he understands the market and is getting knows how to get his product into there. So that's why we brought him on to speak to you today. He has been getting quite a lot of samples and products established in the US so that you can actually get the product to your doors. The big ask that we've had when we've spoken to buyers over the last few months is product in the market, because that is the biggest hurdle. What you need to do is get it established there. So if they ask for a sample, it can get to them. If they ask for a small order of 20 bottles to start with, it can get over to them. That is the key thing. And I think Mit has already come across this and made a solution for that. So Mit will be talking to us a little bit of his experience in the market and what has been going on and what his hurdles have been, and really trying to give us an idea of what's going on, but also giving us an awesome idea of what's happening in Africa, why it's such a great market, why there's so many opportunities that people are only just discovering at the moment. So I'm going to do that and hand over to Mit while I get his slide deck out. 1 second. All right. Just get this together. Okay. Second, Mit. Thanks for joining us, Mit.
Thanks a lot, Rex. Yeah, the slides are up.
Just gonna make it full screen. All right, great.
Great, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I'm here. Basically, my name is Mit. I'm the director of Luano Honey. We're an export-based manufacturer based here in Zambia, Africa, and we currently have warehousing, and we're exporting to the US and operating out of Baltimore. So today we're going to explore the diverse markets that Africa has to offer. I'm not even going to be able to touch 10% of the variety of goods available throughout Africa. People think of Africa as a country, but it's literally a continent, and how each state in the states is different and unique. So is each country within Africa, and each country has a huge variety of goods to offer, but we'll basically touch on the main ones. Next slide, please, Rex. So yeah, like I said, we'll be touching on the diverse background, the number of diverse products that the continent has to offer, and the products that are really exported the most or wanted the most from buyers. Next slide. So yeah, we'll start with North Africa. We kind of grouped this together because North Africa more or less has the same climate, and most of the countries offer similar offerings. In terms of food, most notably, it's olive oil, dates, fresh fruits, various types of nuts, spices, specialty coffee, and specialty meats. Like I know there's a lot of camel products coming out of North Africa, including camel milk and camel leather and things like that. So yeah, that's North Africa in a gist. They obviously offer hard commodities such as petroleum and stuff, but I think that's irrelevant to us. In terms of FMCG, mainly focused on the fruits, oils, nuts, and specialty
Hi, is it the
livestock coming
audio?
out.
Hallo, is Johan hier so?
Sorry?
No, Karen, no worries. Somehow someone's jumped on to this without being muted.
No worries.
Please carry on mute, Mitt, just so we can
Next
see
slide.
your face a little bit better as well. If you can reposition your camera a bit, yeah, that'll be great. Awesome.
Sure.
Thanks.
Next slide, please. And yeah, next we come up to West Africa, known for its a huge population in the US. I think the West African market I would say the West African population in America is gigantic and probably the second biggest outside of West Africa. And therefore, there's a huge market, there's huge potential for West African products from the native continent to be sold in America. These things come, most notably in forms of cocoa. I think 70% of all chocolate product, cocoa used in chocolate product, comes from West Africa, and there's a huge supply chain and market to be exploited there. And I definitely know that there are some firms that USAID is supporting in West Africa that deals with some of these supply value chains. We have edible fruits. I know there's a lot of dried fruit and seafood product going from West Africa into the US, whether it's packed in FMCG, direct to retail, as well as bulk. And yeah, that's mainly the most of the stuff that comes out of West Africa. But like I said, there's so much more to it. There's hundreds of other items that could be listed on this list. But yeah, the main things: cocoa, fruit, seafood, and cereals mainly. Next slide, Rex. East Africa. East Africa basically is Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, all that whole region. Very, very much known for its coffee, tea products. Also very much known for spices like vanilla, star anise, and exotic spices, mostly of Eastern influence. And we see huge exports of also tree nuts like cashew nuts coming out of East Africa and headed towards the States. And I'm pretty sure there are a couple of other companies that are supported by USAID that produce most of these things that should be showcasing at the Fancy Food Show. Next slide. Southern Africa, which is what we're part of. Zambia, but that encapsulates Zambia all the way to South Africa and includes countries like Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Malawi. We're very much known for fruits, nuts. Macadamiums, a huge export coming out of South Africa into the US, macadamia nuts. Also in terms of value added products such as wines. South African wines are some of the best in the world, and we see a huge movement of that going into the US as well. In terms of food products, I know we have companies that do specialty food products, whether it's chili sauces, jams, specialty macadamia oil, and teas as well that are coming out of the region and that are supported by USAID that will be at the Summer Fancy Food Show with their products available. And yeah, that's basically the gist of what's available in the various regions. Like I said, the list it's endless, to be honest, and you'll see a good variety of product um, in the Africa section when you do visit it. For each and every country, and I really hope that buyers do connect with manufacturers as they're our main route to market to get our product to market in the US and promote the trade between Africa and America.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Amit, for giving us that concise outline of it. Just in your experience over the last few years of working with the US, I know a big hurdle for you is just getting your product into that region. What was the key part of that for you? Why did you go that route, and what was the ask from key buyers in the US? And what are they still asking you at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, the main, I'd say, concern that US buyers had is that do we have stock in the country? No one's really going to order from Africa and wait 3 months later for their consignment and then put it to shelf. But it's good. It's a good validation point that, it gave us a good validation point that our product would be, if we did bring it to America, it would be sold, right? That's the main problem that manufacturers like myself have, like, oh my, we take it to America and then it doesn't get sold. So yeah, I mean, it does give good validation, and once buyers are interested, it's a matter of positioning stock and running with their model rather than the model that we think we have as manufacturers.
Anything you can advise US buyers on at the moment? Anything that you think that they should know or make them more confident in buying from Africa?
Yeah, in terms of authenticity, I don't know any African manufacturer that meddles with what they produce in terms of quality. Another thing you have to note is that 90% of the product going from Africa goes to China, gets value added there, and then sent to the US, probably not even in its original state. Africa is a direct source rather than going through various other countries and distorting the origin of the product itself. And yeah, authenticity, definitely. You'll never find in basically a not authentic product created by an African manufacturer.
Awesome. Great. That's great. Fred has got us a question. What option do you use for keeping stock in the US, and what type of arrangements do you have to make just to have an idea of that?
Sorry, what type of stock? What did he say?
He said, what option do you use for keeping stock in the US?
Yeah, so we currently have our own warehousing facility in Baltimore. It's a port city, and labor was kind of cheaper than the rest of the country. And yeah, I'm actually I'm keeping my stock is just bulk barrels, and as and when it gets sold and used, I kind of pack it down and sell it. But yeah, we share facilities with other people in the honey business. It's a honey storage facility. So yeah, in America, you do find various options of storage. It's not only you have to get the whole warehouse or something like that. You just have to look a bit more. But yeah, you do find cooperatives that you can join and store and pack and things like that.
And is that a bonded warehouse?
No, it's a cooperative warehouse. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we cleared our own goods, put it into storage.
Okay, great. And in your experience, Malika is asking, which is the best region in the US that is looking for honey from outside of the US?
So we strategically target African stores to begin with. It's the lowest hanging fruit because their buyers or the people there that enter their stores automatically recognize, the dark sort of honey that we want to supply. We don't have, it's a quicker sell than convincing someone else that doesn't know Zambia or doesn't know, the region. But yeah, in terms of honey, I mean, consumption is mostly everywhere. That market is huge. It's just a matter of finding your buyer within that market, finding your audience.
Great. Okay. So there's someone's giving some good idea of there, Audrey, that they've got a warehouse facility for African exporters 70 miles out of New York City. So yeah, take note of that. Nice opportunity for you coming through there as well. And then Loris Milner is asking, does honey need special FDA or import authorization and certification?
As far as I know, not really. We managed to, all the export paperwork from Zambia is pretty straightforward. Our facility here in Zambia is FDA registered already. So it was pretty easy for my clearing agent in the US to import the goods. Yeah, there was a delay because no one, it's not ordinary for someone to bring honey from Zambia, so, and it's not common either. So CBP, held the shipment for a little longer than they hold other people's shipments. But other than that, there's not much issues.
Okay. Oh, it's a good thing that honey doesn't go off, right? So
yeah.
And just one more question here from Johan. He's saying broker versus importer versus wholesaler versus distributor versus retailer. Where do you start? Where have you started?
Hey, honestly, it just, everything is based off your budget, how much you want to invest, how much you can invest. The key is to get the product to shelf, whichever route, fastest, most efficient route to shelf or to in front of people, right? That's what's going to get your cash flowing. And yeah, but I've had experience. I mean, working with importers and stuff. It's not the easiest. But yeah, anyway, you just have to trial and see what to do.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Great. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mint. We are looking forward to hearing more about opportunities coming from your side in the US, and keep up the good work over there, man.
Thanks, man.
Great. So yeah, and Nick, can you join us now on camera? So just a little introductions from for you on your side, just to make sure everything's working. There you are. Great. So thank you. Just introducing Dr. Nick Chalambides. He's the technical director at Imani Development. Just some background on Nicholas. He's an international trade economist and director at Imani Development. He has over 30 years of experience in Southern and East Africa, specializing in regional integration, trade, legal, and regulatory framework. Imani do a huge amount, as mentioned, with various organizations across the continent, and have as years and years of experience of finding solutions and helping the whole of the African continent grow and develop sustainably. So really great to have you with us. Nick, do you want to try to share your screens? If that doesn't work, I can share them for you.
Let's give it a go. While I blush over your comments. Can you see that?
I can, yes. Do you want to try full screen and see if it'll work?
Let's get that. Why is it not going full screen for me? Let's shrink that. Okay, that's very frustrating. Let's go here. Give me one moment. Anyway, I think a pleasure to see to hear from Mitt that practical experience. let's see view. This may work. Okay, maybe we go back to that plan we had before, which was you just put up
try the
PDFs.
little projector screen at the very bottom.
I can't reach it because of the, hang on. Oh, I'm such a fool. Okay, so I'm good at my job. I'm not necessarily good at other things.
Yeah, there we go. Got it.
Okay, sorry everybody. Just a bit of background. We've worked both on AGOA. We've worked on the AFCFTA. That's what we're going to quickly talk to you about now, because you're the business. You do the trading, but it's the business of government to provide a framework in which you trade. And there have been two sort of important events happening with regards to your market access to America and with regards to your market access to the African market. The first, and we're going to look at both of those very briefly. The first is AGOA has which is the market access deal. That through AGOA, America offers duty-free access for certain products. We're going to go through its impact and its future, but it's just been through a process of review. And we actually worked with the ministry here, with the Ministry of Trade in South Africa, on a strategy for AGOA renewal. What's happened? What's been the impact, and what's the future? And then the other aspect that we're going to quickly look at is the dawn of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is all about enhanced market access to Africa. I'm going to go through this really as quickly as possible to try and open up for questions, and we can come back for any points of clarification. I think the main thing with AGOA is that AGOA is sort of seen by America as a gift to the people of Africa, to their markets. It's been going for since 2000. It has offered duty-free access for about 6,000 products. We've seen some increase in trade. We've seen some increase in trade and investment. We've seen some kind of development of value chains, integration into global production, and initially quite some impact. What you'll see on the right here is the growth of exports, but I think it's worth bearing in mind the reality check. A lot of that growth was petroleum products, and a lot of we have seen an increase in others and textiles and clothing, but the impact has not been quite sometimes the way that the AGOA is talked up, and also we're a lot of that initial impact was not in anything outside of petroleum, but we have seen some growth. We'll come into that. What's also important here in looking at AGOA is the extent to which the impact has been differentiated across countries and across products. So I think South Africa, very significant effect on automotive sales. In Ethiopia, a big impact on leather and leather products, on textiles and clothing. In Lesotho, rather, textiles and clothing, a major impact on the economy. And in Kenya, we've seen quite a lot of investment into textiles and garments. So again, looking at an aggregate doesn't always tell you the full picture, because some countries and some sectors have really benefited. There has been an issue with regards to eligibility at the country level. I think many of you will come on to that because this is seen as a gift by the American people, the scope for discretion by American politicians and American sentiment is much greater than, for example, your negotiated free trade agreements. And I think that's a key point. And the conditionality for America to continue to give duty-free access is based on a wide range of criteria that include human rights. Are you treating your labor correctly? What you've also seen are sort of certain issues at company level. You've already mentioned, Rex and Mitt, the challenge of FDA approval and SPS. We'll come on to that. But actually setting up the apparatus for the documents has sometimes been a problem. Okay, so, you know, at company level, but you know, there are school fees to be paid in this. You know, you're going to have to learn to navigate and to comply with forms that that will be new to you to begin with. Another thing I was asked to look at is sort of what have been the products that have actually been eligible for duty-free access to the US, and the main impact, as we said before, was oil and gas, automotives, apparel, but we have had some food products. You know, the fancy food has been relatively successful in terms of enhancing exports to the US. But one thing to bear in mind is that sort of market access alone, while great, you have to be able to use it. And I think what you see here is actually the difference between the market access that America has granted through quotas for apparel and what the continent has actually been able to achieve. I won't go into company stories here, but basically that you know, we can see AGOA affecting a company level in different ways. These are some of the famous examples of where we see different kinds of impact on different kind of companies or value chains. With the Mombasa apparel, it's really about establishing a factory, the 10,000 additional jobs. In the situation in Ethiopia, the enhanced market access enabled a rather complicated and very pro-poor production basis to enhance its exports. In South Africa, high-tech automotives. So I think you've seen here that, you know, it's worked in parts. It's had an impact in particular areas, but there are challenges. We've already mentioned the concentration of the products, and the product range. We'll come on to this, the eligibility and policy uncertainty. I think all of you will know about SPS challenges. One of the things that has been a challenge has been this issue of suspension or review of the access to duty-free. Many countries in the region have been affected. Once you are suspended, it doesn't mean that you're suspended for good. In Eswatini, in Mauritania, that, you know, there was a process of dialogue that meant they were reinstated. But what I want to bring to your attention is the impact that uncertainty has. I don't need to tell you as business that uncertainty is the killer. And what has been the experience is that in those countries that have had uninterrupted access, they're still exporting. But this issue of uncertainty has meant that countries that did initially very well have been deeply affected, not just by the removal of preference, but also over the longer term by that removal of the reduction in investment. So in terms of the impact on development, if you have to put this in perspective. AGOA has increased exports, but if you look at the growth of exports under AGOA relative to other regions, and relative to China, the world, other preferences, there is still a great deal to be done, and it falls behind. I think that message is that, you know, the AGOA and tariff access is no magic bullet. But that doesn't mean AGOA is irrelevant. The good news for us is that the AGOA agreement is likely to be extended and is likely to address some of the challenges that we have. Firstly, they're going to extend this by 16 years. So the renewal process will be, so we have a more secure and longer time frame. The eligibility review, this thing that has caused so much uncertainty, is likely to be streamlined to make more transparent, but not necessarily easier. We're looking at increasing the product coverage. We don't know what it is yet, but crucially also to incentivize AGOA beneficiaries, the recognition of the fact that you need to have a consistent, coherent and comprehensive capacity building program, and AGOA is moving towards that. And another aspect of this is the support to regional integration. The AGOA now will allow producers to use goods from across the continent to qualify for AGOA access. So I think in that regard, the AGOA framework has been beneficial for many, but its impact needs to be improved. So the link now to Rex, can I just ask, how are we for time?
Yeah, we're fine. We can take some questions about AGOA before you flip over to the free trade agreement.
Perfect.
Cool. So, yeah, I think there's been a question from Anne Tober just about documentation for AGOA. So Anne, it's not documentation that you need for AGOA. I can answer that quickly. It's you need to be registered for FDA. I'm sure the US government doesn't want you to send them requests for AGOA information, but the key is really that you need to be FDA registered, and not just you, any importer in the US as well. So for buyers that have joined, you have to have an FDA registration if you're going to be importing stuff from a region outside of the US. Nick, yes?
Sorry, Rex, just one thing on that. The issue of qualifying for originating status in textiles and clothing is that, there is a tiny bit of documentation there, but I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah, and it's much the same within food and beverage as well. For buyers and sellers, you have to go through a process of getting your product registered. So for importers, buyers on the call as well, just to note, there's a huge reliance on you in the market as well to support exporters into the region. We really do need an importer in the US to act as their official importer of that product when it's being exported. So a crucial part that you play in it, actually giving those African producers access into the region. So yeah, you will become the importer of on record when setting up and getting the FDA's registration set up for the African exporters. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Just jump down. I don't think so. Okay. Noel's asking what are the processes for FDA registration. Noel, there's as Nick has mentioned, there's a requirement for finding out a proven country of origin. So there's certain documents that you have to get. We can send that to you. We did a program last year supporting people with that. So yeah, drop Cindy or Dante a message. They'll put their emails on that, and we can send you a list of information that you need to get. But it really varies per product. It's a similar process, but there's certain documents that you need for certain products in your market or that you're dealing with. Great. And Nick, do you want to stop share and bring on your Africa Free Trade program? Just while you're doing that, from your knowledge as well, Nick, just how is AGOA helping to encourage you buyers to source more from Africa in your experience?
I think the thing of AGOA, where it is exceptional, is how significant the support is. You have within each of the regions, you have a trade and investment hub that will be bringing on people such as yourself to do a great deal more matchmaking. And I think with AGOA, it's this integrated approach that they are looking to go even further, where support can be in terms of helping governments with their processes and procedures, it can come down to the company level. They are really, I think that's where AGOA stands out, is not really in its tariff offer. Many other countries deal with that, but it's the fact that it's integrated within an awareness of commercial reality at the company level and supports US investment. I don't know what your experience or involvement with with supporting exports into the US speaks to, Rex.
No, yeah, exactly. It's an encouragement for sure for buyers. The fact that there is a market, and I think that's been done over the last 25 years to sort of drive more interest in sourcing from Africa, and AGOA has been used for that. But what we're trying to drive at the moment, and both us and USAID and the Prosper Africa team, is just the understanding that it is available and there is a market to source from. And the world has obviously changed in the last 10 years from where things are happening, and political issues around the globe as well. Now is really an amazing time to utilize AGOA as a buyer. Governments are pushing, especially US government, pushing importers to stop importing so much from Asia and look at other regions. South America, obviously a key one, but Africa as well, a very key market to look at. So that AGOA, as you mentioned, likely to stay around for a while, and really a great thing to use while it's available, and continues to be a great access into a very big region of 55 countries. Really good on that space. Great. So that's going to take us through to your next presentation, Nick. If you could stop share and just give us a little about that.
Are you able to see my screen? It says I'm sharing.
No, you're going to have to stop share of the current one and then reshare of the.
Your patience with me, Rex, is near limitless.
So just so everybody knows, and the next session is really focusing on what the other opportunity is for buyers and exporters at the moment, because as much as AGOA has been around for many years, the next big opportunity that is being driven is this intra-Africa trade and the ability to get product across borders in Africa so that they can make it cheaper to export products into regions like the US as well. So we've come across a huge amount of this at the moment. A lot of product is leaving Africa at the moment and ending up in Southeast Asia, only to be imported back for manufacturing in places like South Africa, Morocco, and Egypt. It was super frustrating when it's just across the border. So we are hoping that this is something for US buyers to really understand, that Africa is trying to do stuff themselves to make sure that things can get over to the US cheaper and more sustainably is the key on everybody's tongue at the moment. So I'll hand over to you, Nick, to just give some information about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement.
No, thank you very much, Rex. And I want to prefix this by saying I'm an enthusiast for the AFCFTA, but I think there needs to be a realistic assessment by the private sector, because already we're beginning to see a slight frustration from many of the private sector associations and the exporters we speak to. They say, but we've signed this agreement. Why am I not able to ship more easily to Ghana yet? So again, while an enthusiast, I think part of what this does is highlight the opportunities, but also sort of the fact that there needs to be a tempered expectation. And there needs to be an understanding that what it does will depend on what you do. I think that's sort of a key message there. In terms of sort of what is the AFCFTA, I think the idea of establishing a duty-free and quota-free economic space covering the entire continent is well understood. We've got 1.3 billion people that will now become part of this free trade agreement. There are great expectations of how much it can reduce costs. And I think the important point here is is that the scope here for cost reduction is not just from the tariffs. I think that's crucial, that the trade facilitation, making it easier for you to trade, also involves non-tariff barriers. So in some ways, sort of the AFCFTA is building on all of the initiatives that you'll see in terms of the trade facilitation agreement to reduce red tape at the borders and streamline processes, to the actions of the SADCs and the COMESAs and the EACs and the ECOWAS of this world. It's sort of stitching those initiatives together to try and reduce costs even more. But beyond that, it's not just a trade in goods agreement. And I think that's crucial, that there is also a framework to try and reduce the barriers to trade in services. There's a framework to try and enhance investment. So that the whole approach here is really to actually to ensure that there's a comprehensive framework that enables not just trade, but business to happen. And we're pushing for business visas. We haven't got it yet, but we're pushing for business visas to be adopted across the continent, because we know that business happens when business people meet. So yeah, that's the main point in terms of where we are and what it offers. There are significant things to consider for you as a business, that not all trade will be liberalized. And I think that's an important point, in that there is significant scope for certain sensitive sectors to remain protected. So if you're looking at sort of what products to go into, you have to look properly. I'm sure you will. But also, I think one of the things that has come out is the scope to address these behind the border challenges. But work that we've been doing, for example, with Uganda, that they've identified 30% tariff preferences in Algeria for certain key products, for example, coffee, and I think groundnuts. But then when you dig deeper, there are still these additional taxes that are not being removed by the AFCFTA. So I think there's an opportunity there. You must try and grab it, but you have to be cautious and not just look at the tariffs, as I'm sure no one would only look at the tariffs. In terms of the issue of implementation, actually, there's something called the Guided Trade Initiative. And if you happen to be one of the 9 countries that are participating, you will be able to get access to greater information. You'll be able, the countries themselves are actually pushing to make sure that trade actually happens under the AFCFTA. So earlier this year, South Africa sent its first consignment of agricultural products to Kenya. Kenya is expecting to export tea, coffee, fruits, vegetables in return. So there are initiatives to actually make sure that this is being implemented and used. I won't go into this in any detail, but I think a key point with the AFCFTA is really that to look beyond just the size of the market. If you look, Africa and Germany's economy not far off. So why are we so interested in the AFCFTA when our market access to the EU would be much more important? I think that the point here is that the nature of what you're able to do in Africa, with Africa integrated, is fundamentally different. And what we see as a huge opportunity, if business is prepared to grab it, are regional value chains. And if you look at the nature of trade within Africa versus Africa's trade with the rest of the world, as you mentioned, so that we tend to export raw commodities globally, but we do export a much larger percentage of high-tech goods, when we're exporting to neighboring or countries within Africa. Okay? And also the spillover effects of this, regional value chains, there's a great deal more local ownership, which means that spillover and organic growth is much more likely to happen. The way that the AFCFTA can help on a specific level, tariff phase downs, harmonization of rules of origin, again, crucially here, not just harmonizing standards, but enabling services. So much of what makes our trade in goods possible is our trade in services. Okay? And again, there is this framework to liberalize trade in services. The removal of non-tariff barriers is going to be the most important thing, much more so than tariff liberalization and trade facilitation. These measures we were talking about. Now, we did a very substantive piece of work for the Africa Union on which value chains we may see grow. I don't want to go into the details of that, but again, we did see it's worth looking at the sector as a whole and see how it works. From chocolate, we saw that they're liberalizing tariffs in Nigeria would open up, and liberalizing tariffs in South Africa opens up the chocolate sector, but you need branding. So Nigeria Ghana is significantly constrained on branding and marketing. South Africa has a wealth of this. We can share these resources. So what I just wanted to note here in terms of the actual preferences that you are likely to get. So in West Africa, actually, currently tariffs are quite high, 18% on average, between 10 and 18%. We're likely to see those go. In Southern Africa, the impact is going to be less, but it will be high in certain sectors. And we are going to see certain things expand in terms of the opportunities in services. And what I mean by that is a more stable and more open, but again, much more needs to be done. If the kind of openness to each other is going to be sufficient to deliver the kind of impact on services, reducing their costs, increasing their availability, we're way behind in terms of what we see in other markets. I think it's interesting to note sort of where some of these opportunities may arise. Looking at the leather and leather product value chain, I just did this as an illustration. You'll see that in some stages, the raw material livestock is not being liberalized. But then if you go through the stages, you will see that there are some significant opportunities emerging, and in leather and leather products, cocoa, tea, coffee, etc. Again, just to illustrate the fact that the gains from leather, for example, are across the continent. They're not just concentrated in the most high in the most industrialized, but again, different parts of the value chain benefit different countries. I won't, again, an illustration of the opportunities that are emerging. Mobile financial services, Africa is leading the way for sure. We asked ourselves the question, is the AFCFTA going to do anything at all to help this? Well, yes. How? It's going to basically increase or reduce the barriers to cross-border trade and investment in several countries. We're seeing liberalization on data transmission and cellular networks. Countries are agreeing to improve the temporary movement of company transfers. So if you're a tech company and you're established across the region for several countries, it should be easier for you to move staff. It should be easier for you as an independent contractor to actually access those markets. And again, the tariff offers should reduce the cost of importing your infrastructure. So Coming now to what business and investors can do to prepare. I've categorized this in sort of, accountability, because we're very quick to hold the government to account, and we need to. Okay? We need to, the private sector needs to stiffen political will to make sure that they're putting onto the books the schedules that they have agreed, setting up the institutions by operationalizing the processes and documentation, and that enabling the enabling trade initiative is a key vehicle for you to actually have some influence there, but mainly through your associations. Again, holding to your associations to account in their trade fairs. Are they looking to Africa, or is it really only to the larger markets outside? Because as Rex, you said, that frustration. What we have seen is that companies are much more willing to import from China or from India or from Pakistan because they already have the link. They don't know actually what is available across the border, certainly where there's a language barrier, certainly where, so outside of your particular regional zone. So are your associations running trade fairs and dealing with market linkages that actually promotes so that you can see what's available across the border? And another message here is, are you prepared to move away from this ever-increasing trend of beggar my neighbor, of this market is mine? What we're seeing in Southern Africa, what we're seeing in many parts in West Africa, non-tariff barriers and import restrictions going up. Do you as business have a coherent vision that means, we're going to fight this narrow-minded protectionism where we can? So that's an important thing. But really, holding yourself to account, are you looking at the opportunities across the border? Are you aggressively integrating Africa into your business model? Are you changing the way you look at things? And again here, so it's interesting. You mentioned with AGOA, but it's also with the AFCFTA. There are important programs of support. Have you even looked into this? How can you access these funds? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. And a final thing, I think, for the private sector with the AFCFTA is possibly not you should always end on a high note. But just a word of caution. The AFCFTA investment protocol should replace all of your bilateral investment treaties. Are you as a business, are you as an association up to speed on what this might mean for you, your expansion plans or your investment, attracting investors? So with that, I would like to end, a great opportunity. It's an opportunity that, again, is its greatest opportunities are in terms of what you will be able to do, not just the market size that you will have access to. But the challenges are there about implementation. But there's a positive story there with the trading initiative. Your governments are trying hard in many cases. With that, Rex, I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. We don't have any questions, but I want to just add something here and just let all the participants know why did we invite Nick to come and present to us. Okay, so obviously it comes with a wealth of information and a lot of opportunity and doing various projects across the continent. But and why did we get him to speak about AGOA and Africa Free Trade, continental free trade agreements? There's two things here. One is for the buyers that are joined. So we want you to know what is coming from Africa. We are trying to make a plan to make sure that things get you a lot cheaper. So there's two things here. So one is it's opening up trade from Africa between countries, which is making the possibility for a future consolidation of products that are coming over to you to start with. So that's a huge thing. And then secondly, there's now free trade between Africa and free trade between the US. So if we can get products from the free trade from Africa, that can mean manufacturing in certain stronger economies in Africa can happen of raw materials, and those products can get across to you as a US buyer at a better price than you can get it from other regions. What you're getting for at the moment is you're getting often African product from Southeast Asia. And that's got to leave leave Africa, go to Southeast Asia, get processed there, and then come back to you, usually tariffed with customs. The idea for us is that we're trying to drive free trade through the continent and then into the US. So that makes the opportunity there. Nick, you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, no, thanks. I think it's, having looked at the general here, how the framework is changing. I think it's also, worth highlighting just some of the work that we're doing for Uganda. Big opportunities for them in the South African market for chocolate. We're the AFCFTA will see that the tariff drop from about 17-20% to zero. We've got big opportunities in Ghana Ghana is one of the biggest markets for tea on the continent. And again, sort of that 10-15% tariff will be dropping. Again, Nigeria, big market, relatively speaking. We're seeing tariffs on particular products falling by as much as 30%. I think it's also worth noting that, the opportunities for tourism, there are some opportunities there for targeting tourism. And if we can get the framework right, if we can liberalize those transport networks, there's significant opportunities, that I did with mobile financial services and ICT. Southern Africa has pockets of excellence there. So does East Africa. There are some genuine opportunities emerging in niche areas, but you're going to have to do your homework, but they are there.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. And just to round up as well for the African exporters that have joined us today as well, is that we're needing to start working together. And I know that is difficult. It's hard enough working with partners that we've got at the moment, but we need to obviously start doing that. And we know how it goes. We've got to push you together. So as Catalyze as a company, and Imani's doing it as well, we got to present you things where we slap you in the face with a fish and say, there it is. And we'll continue doing that to you. And once it happens, you will see the value of buying stuff across the border. We've seen it in other industries as well over the last few years. And the opportunity is huge. A big example being in New York last year with a big vanilla company from Madagascar and a tea company in South Africa. And we know Madagascar's got some issues with manufacturing and getting certain stuff like machinery and stuff across there. But there's companies in South Africa with sitting machinery that is not necessarily being used at 100, their facilities at 100% capacity, and have the ability to pack that stuff. So there is that opportunity. There is a lot of interest across the continent, and there's a lot of opportunity for the buyers and US partners that have joined us today for investment in Africa. It is ripe, it is open, and we're very keen to have you involved in the market. There's a lot of opportunity out here. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. It was really great. And Nick, thanks for all your insight, and Mit, yourself as well, someone that's got stuff onto the ground as well in the US and doing so much more over there. There's so much opportunity at the moment. It's the right time. We just have to all work together and really start driving things into the US market and into between Africa at the moment. So great. Thank you everyone for your time. Looking forward to seeing a lot of out there in the US. Please don't hesitate. Contact us if you're having issues trying to get on the matchmaking platform, trying to work out what's going on. We're here to help. We'll see you out at the show in New York in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, very excited about the whole program. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Mit.
Thank you, everyone.